Namaste. This is a short video that intends to introduce the research papers that have been published by the Textual Research Division of Krishnamacharyayogamandiram. So in the Textual Research Division, we work on various textual topics and questions and problems and try to find inputs based on the analysis of the traditional classical Sanskrita sources of yogic texts. Now, I would be sharing the gist of the research papers which have been published in various national and international peer-reviewed journals, and the details. This will give an introduction to the paper, the details of which can be looked into in the research papers, which are there presented in the website of Krishnamacharyayogamandiram in the research page. In this video, we will be looking into the paper Prayatnaśaithilya in the Practice of Yogasana, a critical review based on Traditional Commentaries of Yogasūtras. So this paper was published in the Yogamimamsa journal in the year 2012. Now, what is Prayatnaśaithilya and why Prayatnaśaithilya? All are aware that asana is a very important limb of yoga with a lot of therapeutic implications and benefits that are accruing by the practice of it. And for the practice of asana, sage Patanjali in Yogasutras has presented two techniques in the Sutra 2.47, Prayatnaśaithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam. So of these two techniques, the first technique is Prayatnaśaithilya, which has been given or prescribed by sage Patanjali himself to attain the Sthira Sukham Asanam. Hence, it is very important to look into Prayatnaśaithilya. Furthermore, scholars opine that this sutra has been accorded fanciful explanations. For example, George Feuerstein, in his interpretation to Yogasutras, says that all kinds of fanciful explanations have been proposed for this aphorism. So, fanciful explanations implies lack of clarity. When there is lack of clarity, it impacts the technique or the nature of practice. When the practice is not systematic or appropriate, then naturally it leads to undesirable outcomes. Hence also it becomes important to look into this concept of Prayatnaśaithilya. Now, it was mentioned that Prayatnaśaithilya has been given fanciful interpretations. What is the probable cause for this fanciful interpretation? For this, we have to see the general translation of the term Prayatnaśaithilya. So Prayatna is effort and Shaithilya is translated as slackening or relaxation. So Prayatnaśaithilya will generally mean slackening of effort or relaxation of effort. So normally the enigma is that when some goal has to be reached, what is generally advised is intensification of effort. But here we see Patanjali advising slackening of effort. Slacken your effort and then reach the goal of asana. So probably this kind of an enigma that comes to the mind by looking at the words as such of this sutra or the technique might have led to various kinds of interpretations. Hence, we need to look into the traditional sources for clarification. So whenever there is a doubt or lack of clarity, we go into the traditional sources for inputs, insights and clarifications. So on Yoga Sutra, there is a rich tradition or a rich content of knowledge to fall back upon to attain clarity, which is for about 2 millennia of literature, of commentary literature is available to consult to attain clarity. So beginning from the commentary of Vyasa Bhashya on Yoga Sutra, there are so many commentaries, sub-commentaries, independent commentaries till the commentary of Sadashiva Brahmendra and various other acharyas on Yoga-sutra. So we consult these traditional commentaries to attain, to seek the inputs and insights on this topic under the discussion, that is Prayatnaśaithilya. This was done in working on, or in the process of working on this paper. Now, in the paper, initially the primary commentary, the commentary which is respected by all commentators, the later commentators, Vyasa's commentary. So that was looked into, where sage Vyasa gives a very good foundation or very good mechanism of working. Initial inputs are very solid in Vyasa's commentary when we looked into look for insights on this technique. So what does Vyasa say? Prayatno paramat siddhyatyasanam yena na angamejayo bhavet. In this sutra, in this commentary, Vyasa establishes the mechanism of working of Prayatnaśaithilya. He says, Prayatno paramat asanam siddhyati. By slackening effort, asana will be achieved. How will it be achieved? Asana is sthira sukham. How will it be achieved? Because yena na angamejayo bhavati. So Prayatnaśaithilya addresses the problem of angamejaya. Angamejaya, trembling of limbs. So Prayatna, by doing Prayatnaśaithilya, angamejaya is avoided. When angamejaya is avoided, naturally asanam becomes sthira and sukha, firm and comfortable. So this foundational mechanism is established in Vyasa's commentary, based on which all later commentaries, which were indicated in the previous slide, they progress and develop various dimensions of inputs on this particular technique. So when we look into or analyze all the commentaries, we arrive at three types of interpretation of Prayatnaśaithilya, which are contributing or which are complementary to each other. So the first input is Prayatnaśaithilya, which is slackening of effort, is a technique before the starting of the posture or before starting the asana. The second input is slackening of effort is to be practiced during the practice of asana, and slackening of effort or Prayatnaśaithilya can be practiced after reaching the final posture. So Prayatnaśaithilya, before, the technique needs to be focused upon before starting the asana, during the practice of asana, and also at the end or after reaching a particular position in the asana, the final position of the asana. So which indicates that this technique of Prayatnaśaithilya during asana is pervasive. Now this can be explained. This has been explained in the paper in all details with appropriate quotations and analysis, and the summary of this is presented in the paper as a flow chart that you see on the screen. So what is Prayatnaśaithilya before the practice of asana? Prayatna is effort. What kind of effort? Strenuous effort. So by avoiding strenuous effort, by slackening strenuous effort before the practice of asana, there will be no trembling of the body, that is angamejaya will be avoided, and then whichever asana one does, there will be stability and comfort. And then what is Prayatnaśaithilya during the practice of asana? So Prayatna during the practice of asana, Prayatna during the practice of asana refers to distractions and interruptions. So during the practice of asana, when Prayatna in the form of distraction and interruption are slackened or avoided, so that is Prayatnaśaithilya. So I practice only with the focus on the asana. I don't think about any other thing. I practice asana and practice asana only. I don't attend to other works during the practice of asana. So because of that, there will be no distractions or interruptions, so which will again facilitate the smooth flow of practice. Angamejaya is avoided and sthira sukha is reached. So this is Prayatnaśaithilya during the practice of asana. And Prayatnaśaithilya is even after reaching the particular position, be it Padmasana or Vajrasana or Paschimottanasana or Sarvangasana, various asanas, be it any asana, after reaching the final goal position, one has to avoid prayatna, means further activity. So all the effort needs to be done towards moving to the final goal. After reaching the final goal, prayatna has to be avoided. Any further movement has to be avoided. That is Shaithilya. So if that slackening of effort, that avoidance of any extra effort after reaching the posture is done, so that is the practice of Prayatnaśaithilya after reaching the position. So by that, the tendency to shake is avoided. So Angamejaya is avoided. That leads to Sthira Sukham Asanam. So thus all the three interpretations which we arrive at by analyzing the classical commentaries show that Prayatnaśaithilya is a pervasive technique which has to be noted before, during and after reaching the position in the asana. So this is the rich insight that is the outcome of analysis of traditional literature in the path laid out, or the mechanism, initial mechanism established by sage Vyasa. So we see that in these traditional interpretations, they work within the grammatical framework. So the meaning of slackening of effort is held on. So it is the same slackening of effort that is mentioned in the beginning, during, and also after reaching the position. So the grammatical meaning remains the same, but the way of looking at it only is appropriately presented in a different manner. So the grammatical framework is adhered to, which systematically avoids fanciful interpretations, which was identified as a problem by scholars initially on this sutra. This is the approach of traditional commentaries. And then we see that initially Vyasa had established a mechanism. So do Prayatnaśaithilya, Angamejaya is avoided, then it leads to Sthira Sukham Asanam. So a systematic mechanism is presented based on which the inputs flow. And finally, we also see that adhering to the grammatical framework did not limit the exploration of meanings. It rather fixed the framework so that all dimensions of the technique was explored, and Prayatnaśaithilya as a pervasive technique has been established in all these traditional commentaries. So this in brief is the content and the analysis that is presented in the paper Prayatnaśaithilya, which was published in Yoga Mimamsa. All analysis, translations and quotations have all been given in the paper, and this paper is available in the research page of Krishnamacharyayogamandiram. Thank you.